You keep going back to where you are the emptiest. You keep going back to where you are the emptiest. Hello, y'all. I'm Dianna Brianne. I don't give advice, suggestions, information, recommendations. I just share with you my perspective and opinion on different topics, as is with this one. You know, I remember hearing years ago about different tanks, emotional tanks, physical tanks that we all have, spiritual tanks, and that each one needs to be filled. And I guess to some degree they start off empty, and then throughout life we begin to fill them. And some tanks get filled more so than other tanks. Some tanks get filled completely up, and other tanks don't get filled up enough. It could be the love tank. Maybe we don't feel loved enough, and so we're always seeking love. Maybe it's the validation tank. We don't feel validated, so we're always seeking validation. Maybe it is the financial tank, that we feel like we need to, save more. Maybe it's the career tank. We feel like we need to achieve more career-wise. Maybe it's the educational tank. We feel like we need to get more education. There's all kinds of tanks in life that people can have. And often it's in the emptiest tank that we seek more of. So for example, if there's an area of my life that, let's say, education-wise, that I feel like that tank is not filled up, I probably will tend to gravitate towards that tank. In other words, I will gravitate to where I can get that education. I knew someone many years ago that did not graduate high school, and nothing wrong with that. A lot of people can become very successful and still, have never graduated. I've known one person that became super wealthy, super successful, and very happy in their life, and later I was to find out that they had never graduated high school. So that in itself is not a given. Just because you get degrees or go to college or whatever, that's going to necessarily be everything. And so what I remember is this other person who didn't graduate high school ended up marrying a teacher. I looked at that and I kind of thought, maybe in a way he felt like he was filling his tank up by marrying somebody who had completed what he had not completed in his life. Now that may or may not be so, but it kind of made sense to me that often we're drawn to people that can help us in some way complete a tank that is not yet filled, or that could be very empty. And also sometimes when we filled up a tank completely, and especially if it's overflowing, that's often the time that we get bored with it. We're no longer interested in it. We no longer have that great extreme passion. I'll give you another example. When I first started painting years ago, I painted around the clock, it seems. And I painted for years and years. Any free moment that I had, I painted because I was learning. I wanted to fill up that part of creativity part of me that was empty, in my opinion. And I painted and painted and painted. And now I do paint, and yet nothing near what I painted before, because that tank is overflowing. That creativity, that tank in that area of my life was overflowing. And a couple years ago, I went back to college because I felt like I wanted to learn more academically. I wanted to continue to fill that tank up. And I did. I went back to college. It could be in any area of life. It could be in a person's health. They feel like they want to focus on that tank of health and well-being, that they want to focus on being well. It could be on maybe someone doesn't feel loved in a certain area, and so they're seeking love or validation to fill that tank up. And there's right ways of going around about things, and then there's, in my opinion, not so right ways of going to seek validation or whatever, because I believe that self-validation is what we must have before we can really reach out and accept outside validation. So we almost have to validate ourselves before we can really, fully accept other people's validation. And often people look for outside sources to validate them, when indeed they'll probably never fully receive that until they completely validate themselves first in their own self, in my opinion. And so what I'm saying is that often we seek out the tank that's the emptiest. We seek out to fill that tank in some way. Hopefully we're filling it in a positive way and not a negative way. Some people try to fill their tanks up and they do it in a very negative way, and they have negative results. So when we're filling our tanks up, we want to do it in the right way. We want to fill those tanks up in a positive way. And then when they get overflowing, we move on to another tank. And then when all of our tanks are filled up, I don't know if we create a new tank or we just enjoy, just kind of roll along, Okay, well, I thought I would share that thought with you. From my house to yours, I do hope you like, share, subscribe. Links are pinned to the top of the comment section below, and I hope to talk to you soon again. Bye-bye.